pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Do we have an agenda, or are we just running right into the budget? Do we have a,
Yep. I don't think they have.
No, can you grab one of those? 'Cause I don't know
Oh, yeah,
what's
do you
on.
need a, sorry. There you go.
Thank you.
Jim, do you want to start, or Matt, or?
Sure.
Okay.
We can talk finances. So, again, I passed out the spreadsheet, which is our, what we send to the MSBA for reporting on the finances of the project. Again, the far left column is just all the various line items within our budget. Column A at the top is, that's the project funding agreement budget. Those are the values. And if you look all the way down to the bottom, we have a budget of just over $45 million for the project. Column B is what's been invoiced to date. So we're just over $18 million that has been paid out. Column C is what's been encumbered to date, so really either what you have a contract for or what you're, have a commitment for, which is just under 40 million, so it's $39 million. Invoices this period, we have about, because there's a couple Fontaines on here, just because they weren't, they didn't make it into the last updated report. It's a little bit higher than normal, but that's showing 6.6 million. What's interesting, though, is columns F and G all the way over to the right. Of the $18 million that's been spent to date on the project, 14 million of it is eligible project costs.
About 14 and a half, actually.
Yeah. And of that, we anticipate that the town would get reimbursement on, in the amount of about 9 million of that. So you've spent $18 million on the project to date, and you'll have gotten a reimbursed about 9 million. So just about 50%. If you remember, we always talked about that your reimbursement rate is percentage of eligible costs.
Yeah, eligible costs,
not
yeah.
actual costs. So there's a lot of limits and ineligible items. So we're doing really well. Contingency-wise, we've spent about $200,000 of the $3.5 million in contingency that we have. We met prior to this meeting and discussed adding some additional interior cameras. The design philosophy at the time of the design of this building was really to monitor the outside of the building. I think everyone would agree that the environment we're in, unfortunately, we had to add cameras on the inside as well. We also made a change to modify the laptop cart charging capabilities. Instead of having a laptop cart, it would be a laptop, a rack for laptops in the classrooms. So there's just some modifications to the electrical, the infrastructure, so that was approved as well. But to have spent about $20 million and have spent only about $200,000 out of contingency coming up out of the ground, including really the demolition and the additional asbestos that we had early on, we're doing really well.
It's only 1%, right? Yeah, 1%, yeah, that's good.
So just to follow up on this vein of financials, we do have some invoices to approve tonight. Allied testing in the amount of $500. Really, with Allied testing, these numbers are going to go down until we get out to the site work again. They don't really do much on the interior. It's a lot of concrete testing, a lot of compaction testing. They did some fire, spray fireproofing adhesion, those types of things. But this will start to wane. you'll recall, other months, we probably spent about, I don't know, $2,500 or $3,500 per month, so $500. Strategic Building Solutions, which is us, the OPM, $35,309.50. SMMA, which is Jen and her team, $39,779.76. And then Fontaine's most recent application for payment, which is application for payment number 10, just under $2.5 million at 2.456847.14. They don't have to sign this. Does this
Sign the original,
any stored material on it?
this.
Mhm.
Have to sign the thing afterwards.
Attached here this time? Okay,
I think it's attached to yours. Yep, that's right there.
okay, great. So we would need a motion to,
Yep. I'm just looking at the, entertain a motion to,
Move that we accept the bills as presented.
yes.
Seconded.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion on any of the invoices, individual or as a whole?
Nope.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Where's the is this the original that I have? Can I sign it?
I just handed out copies. If
no,
I,
so Matt has the original of the Fontaine invoice.
Okay.
They get that?
No.
You,
Yeah, I will sign the original font.
you don't need to sign that.
Okay.
You need to sign one of these cover sheets.
Cover sheets.
That's what I'm saying, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
okay.
then we give that to Holly, and
Okay.
she processes everything.
These are all copies.
You don't need originals.
Okay.
No, I just need to sign this because it's a complete
Sign that
package.
with- and that'll go
dated
with-
signed.
that
Okay.
goes with it.
And then this goes,
Packet
They
goes
can,
with it.
yeah, they get, do they even get a hard
AIA
copy?
form? Can you get that?
He's gonna have to sign it, right? Oh, Chris signs it.
yeah, Chris signs it on behalf of the school department.
It's only $2 million.
You got it.
So Chris, those are items that you had that the committee had previously
Do I
approved.
just put it here on the bottom? Is that okay? Okay. I'm sorry, what's that? John?
Basically, what we do is all the proposed changes that get approved, we package and actually change the contract through this document.
Right.
And that's why they come out just periodically, once we get enough of them to kind of package together.
So we will keep these two together for Holly, correct?
Yes. It's just been an ongoing issue that she gets this version with the
The AIA report.
backup, well, the backup for stored materials, because MSBA says, where's the backup? And so then she has to send me another email.
Okay. Who's the messenger to Holly?
So what we did last time is that if you give it to me, then I'll make sure that somebody from the office will run it down tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
So,
okay.
yep.
That's the protocol we're gonna keep this time then. We have witnesses.
If Diane usually takes it if she's here.
Right, but okay. You're into that? Okay, Chris, thank you.
So any questions about anything on the finances?
That's, I think we're in pretty good shape.
No, we're doing really well. We're under budget. It's, we started under budget with the bids coming in low, but we've actually done really well, getting out of the ground and getting the superstructure up. So what we've been saying is most of the kind of the big O's, unknown type things, we're beyond. There'll be a lot of little changes, there always are, but there are more of them, but they're much smaller in nature, so they're easier to,
Yeah, usually your bigger O's come from subsurface,
I was
because you
gonna
just
say
don't know
yes,
what's down there,
underground.
so.
yes.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know if now's the time to get into, but just from a financial aspect, we have had the FF&E designer, the furniture designers going through and looking at furniture for the building. And they've put together a list of furniture, which is within our budget, which is great. What is really beyond our budget at this point, and it's really, maybe we weren't really realistic when we developed our budget for equipment, was, we're coming from much, much smaller facilities and trying to outfit a much larger new building with different needs, and we just didn't include that in the budget. The good news is we have plenty of, opportunity or funds to be able to fund those items. It's really just a matter of reviewing those items and what you're comfortable including as part of the project versus looking to purchase down the road as you go, or some other kind of,
It's tough doing that, because that's always kicking in the butt, and everybody always seems to put it off.
there's always something
put it
else
off,
that
and
comes
put it
up as a
off.
need.
Right. Especially when you talk about some of the equipment
Yeah.
that we're gonna.
What do you, can you give me some examples, Tim, as far as what you?
Well, all of Rick's equipment essentially.
big-
What we
I'm a
have in
big
the,
spender, Kirk.
Are they gonna play like musical chairs, like the last kid in doesn't get a chair, or where are we
No,
at?
no, no, no.
Okay.
no, what we had in here was him was 2 brooms and a mop, and,
Yeah, that's about it.
and really, but it's more than that,
Two
though.
rooms?
Well, I got one for each custodian. Each one's got 45,000 square feet to take care of.
Yeah, so it is more than that, because equipment, we generally think of custodial as having all of the equipment, and that's not necessarily the case. The
Me
way
being
that
a
designers
grounds
put
guy
together our budget,
outside.
equipment really is pre-K and K dramatic play, so the bigger, not room furniture, but the bigger items, custodial equipment, nurses' equipment, kitchen smallwares, PE equipment, health equipment, art equipment, and music. So they've put together a list that we're starting to go through, and with Emily's help, and Chris is looking at it, but it totals about $300,000. We had $25,000 in our budget. So we're $275,000 over our budget.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean that
in a line item budget,
we'll our line item budget.
yeah, okay.
Certainly, there's, as I mentioned, we're doing quite well on our budget overall, so there's funds to be able to fund this equipment if that's what you decided to do.
Yeah.
So I think we have some more homework to do to take a look and really make sure that what we're coming to you with is really what we need. Rick will be more than happy to advocate for more than 2 brooms and a mop. At least 1 more bucket, he said would be good.
Yeah, one more bucket would be good.
Um,
Maybe some dust mops too.
Yeah.
I guess is the floor Zamboni's out?
And either way is non-reimbursable by the MSBA. So the reimbursable dollars for FF&E are really in your furniture and your equipment,
Right.
your furniture and your technology. So we are trying to max out those budgets that we have, but not exceed those. And I think so far we've been able to do that.
At what point do we need to kind of,
I think we have some
Shoot.
time, but maybe at the
Okay.
next meeting, maybe there's a vote to say, okay, we authorize such
but
and
you'll have
such.
more of a detailed list and,
Yes. So we can, maybe in January, maybe it comes to February, but I'd have to take a look at her schedule,
Okay. because we can't build a school and have it ill-equipped to take care of itself.
That's what
Because
we're
we're just gonna be kicking the can, and it's not gonna,
There's
It's just not gonna work.
There's a couple items on there, they're, exactly, so we're talking about like.
what was that, Matt?
Oh,
It's
sorry.
not that you don't have the money.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so in January, our January meeting, we'd probably want to be able to present you with a list and vote to fund those items out of contingency.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
There's no item on that list that I can honestly, that's extravagant. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, you think of it, you're coming from a 12,000 square foot facility with wood floors.
Yeah.
You just, it's different needs from a custodial perspective, as well as you never had room to store anything.
Right.
So, some of these new program items, you're coming in with very little, and so we kind of overlooked that.
Yeah, okay. So,
All right, sounds good.
we'll just cross that bridge as we get a little closer, that's all, but yeah, just keep the keep the information coming, and we'll,
Mhm.
I wasn't trying to kill the golden goose, I was just trying to put in for what I thought we needed.
Yeah,
And,
we know,
you
Rick.
know,
no extra mop and glow for you, okay?
Well, I will say.
Emily's gonna have to mop. She's gonna-
I was just thinking.
You wanna protect your investment, you know, you're building
Exactly.
this building, you don't wanna shortchange on
Exactly.
some of the stuff, you really, you wanna take care of it.
All right.
So that's actually like hardware is what we're talking, right? I mean, we're not talking
Can I give
a
you an
lifetime
example?
supplies of polishes and stuff like that.
Let
We're
me give you
talking
an
the
example.
actual applications.
One of the bigger ticket items is I'm gonna, for lack of a better word, a tractor. It moves snow, it can cuts lawn, it can do
Yeah.
all that.
It's a 12-month machine, similar to
12,
what I have
yeah.
down at
Exactly.
the high
Okay.
school now.
So, we don't,
Do we have room to house it there?
we're gonna have a.
That's what we're trying to figure out, because there's not much
A
for
shed,
storage.
for last of,
Really.
lack of a better word, a shed, but we don't even have that at the regional.
Right.
So, but we have enough to get us by. Well, we still have to do all the maintenance, they will plow, the town will plow, but we have to move the snow, we have to cut the sidewalks.
Sidewalks, yeah.
Sidewalks is a big
That's
deal.
huge.
Well, we don't have any, so what's gonna happen is eventually we'll put that into our general, on the ledger, for the general budget. People are gonna be like, what are you talking about? We gotta do this, this, and this. This is gonna be dedicated to this school, and we're gonna need that. So that's just like one example, but there's
Yeah.
nothing beyond, the pale of, of needing something. It's just, yeah, they're big ticket items, but you actually have to move snow, cut grass, you have to do those things, and sidewalks and sand, et cetera. And so that's what we're ready to do.
Okay.
It's just one of the items I'm thinking about.
All right, good. Thank you, Tom.
Matt, do you wanna give a
Okay,
little update of what's
construction.
going on?
Top-down roofing is all complete with the exception of the L-shaped canopies, the entrance canopy and the one parallel to the gym. But the rest of it's all tight, not completely detailed, but tight, sort of thing. Exterior vapor barrier is all complete, the exception of in front of the loading dock and a little bit on the side of the gym. Windows, majority of the regular windows are in, and a lot of the storefront, second, third floor, around east, west, south side, and the north as well, not the gym. Curtain wall's gonna be starting. Face brick is going on the east. Possibly this week, they may finish it. Weather-wise, guess not. We're talking a few inches, but, the east and south are going strong. They can relocate to the west with the hydraulic lift they have and get started on that the next week or so. What else? I guess we move to the inside. Second, third floor, sheet rocking classrooms, corridors, ductwork is going on, all the little MEP stuff, plumbing, insulation.
Just moving along.
Just all
Are all the windows in and on the third and second floor, did you say, except for the gym? Okay.
So the big curtain wall areas are not in, so that's the big glass walls
Right.
in the media center, but the punched openings are in.
Temp heat's going on in building second and third floor right now. A lot of the openings have been covered over with plastic.
Yeah.
Until curtain walls go in.
I'm sure nobody's gonna miss the wind up there, are they?
We did make, thinking of site work, we made that connection at the double catch basin down by the landscaper's yard. Remember,
Yep.
we talked about the overflow pipe, that's been connected. Update on the paving, we had spoken about paving the hatches, South Road in Wellington, for Thanksgiving. We're still shooting for that, but instead of finishing the.
Which would be tomorrow, eh?
drainage work-
Yes.
well,
Look at my
I don't
calendar.
think they're out there now, so it must be tomorrow.
I did hear a beep, maybe it
For
was.
the end of the month now.
Yeah.
But they're gonna do that, instead of waiting to finish the stuff right outside the gate, which if there's another 3 or 4 structures and piping, they're gonna get that stuff done first, the paving end of it, so that it's done for sure, before we really get into.
Oh, the
before
street-
plant's
street
closed,
patches.
if Nothing else.
Okay. Yeah.
Which could be in the next week or so.
You just never know.
So they are pushing that now, and they've decided not to wait till they do the rest of the drainage work.
Yeah, if they don't think they're gonna get some stuff done, get 80% of it done, let's just get it done.
Also,
That'll get done.
There had been discussion from the highway department about wanting to take the shed that the police station has in the back. Technically, Fontaine owns relocating that shed. However, the shed is in really bad shape. It only has 3 walls. There's no
Is it-
floor, no joists or anything. And it will probably fall apart when they try to move it. So Highway's talking about possibly just getting rid of it.
Just mean demolishing it, goodbye?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Just taking it away and getting rid of it.
Also, interior, they've been testing ductwork. The commissioning agent that's hired by the MSBA has been out looking at the building envelope, so the air vapor barrier testing, window testing, where they get the spray rack and they spray, and they have a vacuum on the inside, essentially, make a chamber to, they did it on the mock-up
Yeah.
wall, but now they're gonna actually do on the building itself. So that's gonna be scheduled probably for, before the end of the year.
December right now.
Yeah,
we're looking,
December.
Give or take.
Hopefully, it's not frigid, so you'd be making snow
It's
and,
a mess.
yeah, it's, try and get that done before it gets real cold, but, so those are kind of big milestones to show that, yeah, it's going in properly, and so then you can, close up the interior walls. Usually, the mock-up wall testing kind of, reveals any kind of issues that you have along the way, but this is just kind of a belt and suspenders, testing, make sure now that it's in the building itself, it's fine.
One other thing, I think there's electrical, a lot of electrical going on. They're working in the individual electrical closets, wiring up the transformers and the breaker cabinets, as well as hanging now the trim rings for there's a lot of hi-hats, drop down light.
Yeah.
So they're getting all those roughed in and hanging, pulling a lot of wire, feeder cable for the transformer, would come in from the street to the transformer, then transformer into the building to a main switchgear. A lot of that material and Cat 6 cable has been delivered, so a lot of material on site now.
Going back to the police station shed, now, wasn't that was something that came up after the fact? It had something to do with the parking lot and the curbing, and it was all one package that was a change order, wasn't it? Fontaine moving the shed and this and that, or was it?
That's always been on the documents,
It was?
yeah.
Okay.
There was recent conversation when we started talking about the propane tank.
Okay, okay, yeah.
And maybe having to move it out of the way.
Move it
while they
again.
do the propane tank.
Okay.
Then where is it going?
And what was the resolve with the propane tank?
Nothing yet.
It's
We
still,
had
okay, it's still
some-
hanging there?
Yeah, we had given some, pricing that Matt had kind of come
Yeah.
up with what he thought it might cost, and he mentioned, brought that to Carter's attention. But we did ask Fontaine to put together if not an actual price, give us at least a rough ballpark price so we can,
And that was just south of 40,000, wasn't it?
yeah, we thought between 30 and 35. We had
Okay.
originally said 40, but
Yeah, okay.
Fontaine has led us to believe it would be about 30 to 35,000. And so we wanted to get some sense from Carter whether that was something he wanted to pursue. Our understanding is that at that price, he wasn't interested in pursuing it, at least.
Okay, that was kind of the
As
impression
part of
I
this
got
project.
from what I,
Back to the police department to look into their budget and stuff.
okay, all right.
Which is fine with us.
Close to time is,
Everybody's aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Conversation, okay,
Yeah.
all right. All right, and then so the shed's a non-issue, and then going back, I know we were talking about it earlier, on the, small change order, and does that have to do with, like, the tech part of the school? Is that,
On the cameras, you mean?
talking about
is the extra cameras and some extra stuff inside the classroom as far as it?
Yeah, the charging
Charging
station,
stations,
yeah.
whatnot, is that just an advance in technology today, or just something that's gonna make it a better long-term?
So we use Chromebooks.
Okay.
And there was way back, we're talking carts at some point, but those have kind of gone the way.
When you say
the
cart,
demos
you're
do.
talking actually a mobile cart?
It's a mobile cart, yeah.
So you'd have a battery on the
Yeah,
cart
so
to
this,
charge?
now it's built into the room, so
Yep.
those,
Oh, okay.
they plug right in.
Okay.
They mount right in
There's
the
a
wall.
locking system,
Right in
and,
the wall, yeah.
All right,
yeah, we have them actually at the middle high school.
okay, all
They
right,
charge right on the wall, and you can lock them in, and,
okay.
it's far
there
more
are
efficient.
no interior camera
Yeah, yeah, I was aware of that. I was more on like the tech part, but, and that's like a hallway monitoring and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Police can
19,
dial
20
in.
Locations.
The police they can see if there was ever an issue, they can
Yeah.
have access.
1920 on the inside of the building.
On the inside, yeah.
Like Tim was
And then
saying, it's just
another 20 on the outside, I think,
it's the world we live in,
yeah.
so, okay. Good?
And just, while we're on that, just other items that are pending or in the works is really pretty minimal. You know, if anything comes up as we're walking around site, as Matt's walking around site, or if a question comes up for the design team, that we think may potentially have a cost impact, we track that, but there's really pretty minimal. I'd say, after discussing it earlier, we're probably about maybe $100,000 of just, maybe possibly there might be a cost to this, but usually we're pretty conservative, so usually if, a third of those become reality, that would be more likely, so
Yeah.
we're doing very well.
Okay.
There's not a lot, I guess, there's not a lot of backlog that just haven't been processed yet, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
It's impossible to think of everything, but it seems to be going pretty good.
Yeah. It is.
As you go further, you know, you uncover things and you try and put things together and it just
Yeah.
doesn't work and you have to make some modifications.
Excellent. How about Jen? What do you got to say?
I do have a couple things this week. So Tim had talked about the FF&E, furniture, fixtures and equipment, budget, but what we wanted to do today was just give you, some visuals as to, we worked with Emily and a select group of teachers and staff. We met over the course of the past 3 months, fine tuning the scope and, actually selecting this furniture. So we just wanted to show it to you and, let you know where we're at. And then also, we have a time capsule proposed, in the design on the interior of the building. We also have the Gladys Salem one that will be incorporated into that playground once it's built. So I have a couple options that we can review and just to get you start thinking about it, because we wanna make sure that we've, got that accounted for as they're starting to frame and drywall things. We wanna get that nailed down. So just to sort of quickly walk through, and this is just a high level overview, we won't go over every single space, but, just to look at the general areas. So in the classrooms here, this is just sort of a sample of the furniture layouts that we have, each classroom having, student tables or desks. This is in the pre-K area, so there's the play areas, specific to that program, and then in the upper grade classrooms, there's student table areas, teaching areas, a rug zone, near the teaching walls. So this is just a sampling of the furniture that we've selected, the teacher desks and chairs, some mobile bookcases. I think the big theme and the takeaway from this, all this furniture is really lightweight, flexible, mobile, things that can shift around. So this is just the upper grades. You can see the different height chairs depending on the grade levels. Rug areas, mobile bookcases.
Mobile bookcases, any tipping hazards or anything like that when it comes to those?
No, they're pretty sturdy, and they're not high either. So I think, you know, if obviously they were higher, there might be more of a risk for that. But these here actually have on the back side marker board, so that, you know, even at the lower level, you can use that as a writing surface. It's multifunctional. So in the two music spaces, we have band and chorus. Again, mobile writing surfaces, sheet storage areas, instrument storage. We do have choral risers, which are planned for the stage area, the
Those-
platform.
Those fold up on wheels,
Yes.
I hope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they're mobile, and we do have a ramp up to that platform, so it should be relatively easy, flexible to move
There's
those around.
dedicated storage space for those too.
Right, so in the chair storage, there is an allotted, you know, we've laid out
Right.
where the chair racks would go, where the platform would, the risers would go, just to make sure there's enough space.
So that means you don't have to leave them out in the hallway.
Correct.
If you do, he's gonna push him with his tractor.
Unless your scissor lift goes in that.
That's
corner.
right, you gotta put the
And
scissor
we'll be able to
lift
watch
on.
the video.
We'll be able to see it on film.
Their office, they don't need the.
That's right.
So this is just the general music, which is for the lower grades. Some desks that can fold up and push to the side if there's a more sort of active exercise going on. We do have one art room. There are 2 art rooms planned. One will be dedicated for the health program. So for the art classroom, stools that have sort of varied height, foot stools, so depending on the height of the child, so you're not getting different height stools, it's really,
Yeah.
they can, the smaller kids have a higher rung where they can put their feet. And then these are the finishes, so these were sort of generic images, but we went through and each floor coordinated with, if you remember, each floor had different finishes depending on the level, so we've coordinated with that. But in general, the student desks would all be a light maple finish, consistent, and then really the pops of color would be in the chairs, and then these are the flooring finishes, and there's some fabric here for specialty seating elements. So these breakout spaces that we have in between the classrooms, this is where we're introducing some more active type seating for students. Helps too for kids that sort of need to work out all their energy.
Yeah, a little
These are
pedestals,
new
that's
type-
kinda nice, yeah.
Yep,
I'd like one
stools
of
that they
those.
can move around a little bit, get the energy out.
Flexible seating, as we call it.
Flexible
now.
seating, right. So again, just the finishes that we've coordinated. This is the staff lunch, staff teacher planning area. So this furniture, again, a little bit more, and sophisticated, I guess you'd say, for the teaching area, teachers and staff. There's some lounge furniture, some more comfortable seating for dining. These are the finishes. So the one in the back is the actual carpet that goes in there. So we've coordinated with all the other finishes in that room. So this is the media center. As we were working through the space, I don't know if you recall, the circulation desk was actually centered in the middle of the space. And since that's really a fixed element, as we were going through and talking about how that space would be used, we had made the decision, and Emily had brought up a good point, that this space would be used potentially for even like staff planning, staff meetings, and where we had the teaching wall around this corner, this classroom area space, it's getting kind of tight if you have a group of over 30 people. So we've moved. We've still kept the infrastructure in here if you ever wanted to add something in this corner, but we've moved the TV, the teaching area in this over on this eastern wall. So we've moved the circulation desk to the west here, tucked in this corner, but still visually having visual access to the main entrance and to this side entrance point. Allows for some more flexible, a larger space in front of that teaching wall. And this is the furniture within that space, so even the bookcases become mobile, things that, not easily movable, but, with,
Yeah.
for adults to be able to move those off to the side if need be. Finishes. Some of these fabrics are for reading chairs, more accent pieces in the space, so just to give a little bit of texture there. This is the makerspace, which is across the hall from the media center. Again, this all mobile stuff, things, if you think we're doing like robotics or things like that, so you have tables for that. In the administration wing, more sort of office type like furniture. And the finishes. This is the cafeteria, the platform here, kitchen, servery. Oops, sorry, that's not that. So we have two different shaped tables. And I believe we're even doing different finishes for each, so the more oblong tables will have a gray top with some accent edge banding, and with the other ones maybe pulling this wood tone a little bit more. Again, all foldable, movable, easy to move around. These are the recycling trash stations. We have two sort of fixed stations on either end of the cafeteria. And just the finishes. Actually, I think we did keep, oh no, yeah, the round tables are the gray color. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what we've talked about and decided on for the furniture. Unless there's any questions, just go into the time capsule. So this is just an image of what the actual time capsule is, just so you can envision. It's 12 foot long, 5.5 foot diameter.
12
So-
inches.
5.5
I mean,
foot.
not 12 feet, 12 inches, sorry.
We're actually
Yeah,
gonna
that
put,
way.
we're actually gonna put a body in.
Yeah, no, sorry.
And it's about me,
12
actually.
inches long. So if you're thinking about things, I think, one, we need to decide what we're gonna put in there. And then secondly, where is it gonna go? So I had just thrown out a couple of ideas, and sorry, this image is cut off a little bit, but this is a perspective view. It's showing, this is the main entrance. Here, this first brick pier that we have has sort of a cornerstone piece, but it's just, 2018 says the date, which actually will be 2019, so we'll change that. That was from, if we had
Previous
started the
version.
project,
8 years
so
ago.
it'll say 2019.
Can I ask a quick question? Because it was
Yes.
asked of me today and I didn't know the answer. Somebody asked me if is it Templeton Elementary School, Templeton Center Elementary School?
Oh,
We had decided it would be Templeton Elementary
Okay.
School. That's what, way back when, now if that's.
I remember the conversation, but I don't remember the final outcome of the.
That was the outcome, which is why you see Templeton Elementary School as the signage. So if that's going to change, we should know now. I mean,
I think it
before
was
we-
called TC to separate between the other elementary
Right.
schools way back when, I'm assuming. And that's why it's
My
all of
understanding is
Templeton's,
that this
it's all
is
of
the-
Templeton's
Right.
elementary school
Right.
now, so.
The Templeton,
Yeah.
the Ohio State.
You add
The
the before it?
Templeton.
The Templeton Elementary.
Yes.
Okay, so one option is basically they'll bury it behind that, within that pier. But it's, that's sort of the marker for it. And then the other option in this entry, this is just an elevation view of, you walk in the main entrance here. What we had planned, the new dedication plaque along that wall. This is actually just the fire department. I need a floor plan showing near the enunciator panel and everything. But there's the new dedication plaque, and then as you move in, this is the window through to the administration, the transaction window. Next to that, we had planned, there's the old building committee dedication signage from Templeton Center, which has been taken out and stored, and it was planned to go back here. The thought, potentially, maybe we bury it behind the wall.
That makes sense.
There, as an option. And again, what we would probably do at this point, because they're framing everything, is we'd frame out and do it like an access panel in the wall. That way, we can have enough time to put whatever we want in the time capsule and get it into the wall. We have done on other projects, actually just buried it behind the drywall.
Oh.
But I think maybe with an access panel might be, but then you can cover it over with this sign that you
Oh,
have
yeah,
planned
yeah.
there.
It gives you the opportunity to lay the time capsule with the students there, and they can
Yeah.
kind of take ownership of their first class and kind of make it a thing,
Yeah.
versus just one of the contractors puts it in the wall. She rocks over it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, right, and at least if it's accessible, so whatever the time frame is, 20 years, 50 years, or whatever, then they just reuse it, they just recharge it and say, okay, here we go again, right? I mean, if it's
Do
accessible
anything, yeah.
versus cutting a hole in the wall and so on and so forth. and-
Probably 100 years from now, when they replace this one, so. That's right.
It is interesting to open them up from when schools are coming down, when we're
Yes.
doing new schools. We have found, you know, a program from the groundbreaking for a project, you know, that was, you know, in the thirties, or, you know, just a program of the, wasn't a yearbook back then, but, or whatever their school was, or something like that. So it was interesting to see kind of what, they had put in the past. We've done
This is
some.
Templeton, this could go 300 years, you know what I mean? So we need to be careful.
Well, what they've done too is they've
George
done
Jetson will open that thing up.
a flash drive or a disc, you
Right.
know, a floppy.
A cassette tape, you better put the tape recorder in with it, right?
Right?
Cell phones.
Right.
Pictures, the time-lapse pictures.
Yes.
Put that on a
Yeah,
thumb
on the
drive.
thumb
so they
drive.
can
That would be
watch
the, that'd be
scrolling
the,
and
with
what the hell
the,
is it?
Yeah.
and with our
They won't
dedication.
have anything to play that.
Right.
That's
right.
my
Say,
concern.
what the heck is
Well, they'll
this? They'll
figure
throw
it
it out.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
giving some thought to what you put in, and granted, it's 12 inches by 5 inches, so it doesn't,
I think that's, yeah, that'll, I think the drive, honestly, I think the flash drive is the, and we have the pamphlet for the grand, you know, for the.
yeah, you
We
get
have a
a
couple things we can, yeah.
newspaper, a
Copy the
local,
news.
Oh, the
local
newspaper.
paper, you know, just some,
Well, I believe when TC was closing, they took a lot of pictures of
Just a
traditions that were ending, and we've been doing the same thing at BES. So we're definitely, you know, we're calling in retired teachers to help with the Horribles Parade and getting pictures of that type of thing, as those traditions
Yeah.
are ending. So those might be nice things to put on there.
yeah.
Yeah, pictures of the old school with the
Yeah.
old class, they used to
That's right.
line up in the front yard and take the Memorial Day pictures.
Perfect. We'll figure it out. That's the
So
fun part.
that, I mean, we can
Like that
take some
idea.
time, I think, location-wise, if we can, and we don't have to decide tonight, maybe even the following, but if, or if
Yeah, I
there's
like
another
that.
location
I like
that
this
you have in
idea, actually.
mind.
I kinda like this
Yeah.
idea,
Just like-
actually.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
access.
I think
panel.
interior just
Yeah,
protects
Oh, I
it
would
that
think
much
so
more.
too, yeah, access panels.
but it makes sense behind the
bolted right
original.
in
It's
and-
got a nice,
You don't have to destroy anything.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Open
Yeah.
the
And it said you can
access
recharge it for the next time, or whatever they do for terms
And
or
if-
whatever.
what if you, instead of it just being an access, like a drywall access door, what if you made it like a little cabinet? Where if you wanted to put some other things inside the cabinet loose, you close the access door. You know, it might give you a little more room.
Here's
It's
your
not
idea.
as sealed as a capsule.
There's room for a tractor in there.
Yeah, that's what I wanna know.
You know, it might give you a little more space to store something.
That's a good idea.
I mean, yeah, it could be just like a metal cabinet versus
Mhm.
I mean, that might make more sense anyway, that way you're not, you know, you're,
Right.
it's in a cabinet.
Yeah.
And that's.
I like the idea of actually seeing, you know, almost like the vault door, so everybody knows it's there and keeps their
I mean, it
brains
could
wondering
be-
You
what's
could
in
put
there.
another little,
You could put
little
another
plaque
plaque.
under
Yeah.
that, just saying location of, you
Yeah,
know, and the date.
Just let them know that it's there.
Date
and it
interred
keeps
or
their-
whatever,
their
you
minds-
know. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
yeah.
Put it behind glass so people can see.
So we'll price it up with the access
I
panel
hope to be
and
around a
some-
while, so I really don't have to say no 1,000 times. People are like, no, we can't open it yet. No, we can't open it yet. Because you know if they see it, they're gonna ask.
Right.
Well, maybe it's just a smaller.
Is it ready yet? Is it ready yet?
Little kids,
Is it ready?
1 year is a long time,
Just
so
don't
they're gonna
they
wanna
ask,
open
they're
it.
gonna end up in it.
There you go.
With Walt Disney.
There you go. But no, that's a great idea. I think
Yep.
we can expand on that,
Mm.
location and even like maybe size and application of it, for
Sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right,
that the
so
end of
that's all I have.
end of our journey?
for
That's good.
Design updates.
Thank you very much. Like I said, Tim, like you said, we'll kind of start, as we get a little more info and get a little closer for budget and, because I'm sure, what's like lead time when you say, all right, we're gonna furnish a whole school, or what have you? I mean.
So the designers have provided a schedule for ordering all the furniture and that sort of stuff, and what they have was, yeah, so we wanted to,
Cause
bid period.
our scheduled date of completion of actual structure is what?
well,
End of May.
They,
Okay, May,
You
June,
wanna
right?
have that furniture this summer, which
Yeah.
every other school in the country is getting furniture this summer, so you really wanna get your orders in mid to late January.
We,
So for the furniture and that sort of stuff, equipment, you know, if we were to follow shortly behind that, that would be okay, but, Stephora, the bid period they had was the month of December, basically, with bid opening and evaluations in mid to late January, awarding bids and placing orders in the end of January, early February.
Okay.
And they had pre-installation meeting for the second week in May, installation starting in June. So it's coming up really pretty quickly.
Yeah, it is coming fast.
But we've been working, really, at this point, we're really at the point of looking at the list, maybe paring things down. It's not like we're creating a list at this point. That's all been done, as you can see.
Oh, right,
So
yeah,
it's-
yeah, yeah,
so we're in
yeah,
good
no.
shape. I think we can definitely get that done before, and keep on track is what I'm saying. We can
Yes.
keep on,
Yep.
there's no reason to think we can't. So.
No, so I think if we were to come in January or even December, the next meeting with some information on equipment and get authorization to move forward, that would be fine for our keeping schedule.
Yeah, I think we should
Just
probably
a-
do it next month, right?
Yeah.
Just a question, when we do the, like when we actually order the furniture or whatnot, the count, is it based on like basically maximum capacity of the school? As far as, in other words, so do we wait 10 years and say, we're gonna get a bunch of furniture that doesn't match anymore because how do we do that? Do we go by existing population or is it maximum population of the school? I'm
For
just curious.
furniture,
For
like,
furniture.
do we get the
Desk.
budget?
For desks, yeah.
25
Just
chairs.
Basically
25
everything. I mean, in other words, to say, these classrooms are designed for X amount of kids per classroom, so is that the number we aim for? Do we go, look, we say we can get up this many though? Do we order it now, or do we just go based on today's population or tomorrow's population? I guess that's my question.
Funding is based on current students in the building, so what the MSBA will reimburse, not what you're allowed to spend. You can spend whatever you want.
Right, okay.
But as from a designer perspective, each classroom, was it
Yes,
24
20
students or 26
yeah,
students?
26 and some. I know that we
Yeah.
went, we were
Yeah, I'll
hiring
just-
others.
We
We were
have
hiring
26
others than
puppies.
others, right, because we had
Right.
26.
I'm just curious as
Yeah.
far as we.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can double check and let you know on that, because I don't know the answer.
There's really not much more room for any more.
No, that, I guess that was
Either.
kind of my,
Yeah,
I mean,
if you
Like, we
Right.
couldn't take any more kids, but
Right.
so there's enough chairs in there that there's always a couple extra chairs in each room. And we also, like, chose color of chairs for the second and third floor to be the same, so that
oh, you can share.
you can share chairs based on child
Okay.
size and things like that,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, first floor, kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, so those are the 13-inch chairs are tiny.
Teeny tiny, yeah.
So those you really can't move around the building, but the third or fifth grade,
We won't see those in the teacher's lounge, I take it.
No.
Can you order, if you ran into a problem, let's say with the equipment end of it, could you place the order for furniture without doing the whole package in one shot?
absolutely. We're not locked into ordering everything at once. Certainly, we want to, anything that's going to be bid, the procurement will be
Right,
through
we
state
gotta-
contract, through bidding, and through consortium. So there's 3 different ways that you can really get the best pricing for the furniture. Equipment, for the most part, is usually state contract.
Yeah.
So you're not locked into any time frame. It's just whoever has that contract for that type of equipment.
For that year, or however the state does it, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, the big crunch is really the furniture and the technology. Technology so that they can get it, image all the machines, everything's set up and working, so when you move in, it's there. The IT department, I'm sure Mike is aware of it, but he's gonna have a lot of work to do. Even though it's coming in and being set up by other vendors, there's always that
Yeah.
interaction with the way Templeton does things. And then furniture is just, the summer, every school in the country is just ordering stuff, and so we want to get in early. Equipment's a little different, we have a little bit more flexibility with ordering a little bit later. And often, we see how these numbers come in. These are estimates right now, and the bids may come in favorable and allow us to get something else, or once you get in, some certain things may change, or a staff member has a certain need that wasn't anticipated, and we have to order a couple more things, and so we can do that too.
Just curious, like on equipment, when it's purchased, is it purchased and paid for, or is it ever done like lease purchase, you know, so the things are spread out, so you don't get whacked with $100,000 bill? No, you pay for it all right up
Pay
front?
for it all, bro.
Oh,
Because it comes right out of the,
okay.
I mean, you can
Yeah,
structure it any
that's-
way
I
you'd
wouldn't
like
want
to
to
do
do
it, but, you know, with the MSBA, you have to pay all your bills
Okay,
before you can close out the project. So if you have something that's leased over a number of years, it doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
But again,
I think
since
that would
this
be
is
kind of- I don't
non-reimbursable,
think
if that's something the
I wouldn't
town
want
wanted to
that
do, that's
anyways.
not,
Right,
maybe
it
that's
wouldn't be
in the town's
affected by
interest to
that,
do that.
right,
right.
and just buy it outside the
Right.
project, so to speak.
okay.
All right.
Okay. Anything else, you guys? Everybody good? Good. The board, anybody
Have
on
a
the
good
board?
Thanksgiving.
Any other questions?
Thanksgiving.
Everybody good? Motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.